Good afternoon, board. So today I'm going to talk to you about our replacement schedule. This is something we do every year. It's part of the budgeting process, actually. We tend to take this opening of the school year to look ahead for 5 years at some of the more maybe higher priced items that we would need to be looking at purchasing or repairing so that we can build it either into the budget or we'll look at our bond money, maybe see if there's some available money there as well. So let me share my screen here with you and we'll talk our way through some of these. Hopefully I can get this to working. Okay, so basically they fall into big five areas. That's our band instruments, our band department, because it's widespread. We've got 5 campuses now that we'd be looking at. Our transportation, obviously, athletics, our maintenance, which is really consider that repair and construction type, and our technology. You'll notice we look at a 5-year period. We roll that forward every year. And one thing you need to remember: this is information only. We're not going to ever do these without bringing them back to you and looking get your permission to go. That's why we come to you all the time with repair items, or we come to you with different projects that we need to have done. So just flipping through here a little bit, we'll look at one of the big areas is transportation. Obviously, a bus is expensive. We look at 5 years out at what we might have to replace in terms of buses or Suburbans or trucks or pickups. Um, we tend to use a bus 12 years. I kind of use that as a general rule. A bus on our routes here, our good roads, pretty much can last that long. We take good care of our equipment as well. So we try to put those out 12 years. We'll start looking to start auctioning them off when they get that age. Kind of depends on how they've been driven, how many miles, whether highway miles, city miles. But we look at those. We're in good shape this year. We've added 4 buses, and over the last 3 or 4 years, I've really tried to move those age of buses down. In other words, have newer buses. We've gotten rid of a lot of our old buses that needed to go over the last few years. So we'll always bring these back to you, but we look, and this is basically replacing old items. If there's growth items to that, it becomes on top of this. We look at our band department. Our band department's in great shape. We've added instruments every year. Of course, we opened Dietrich, opened Heritage a few years ago with all new equipment, and we know the directors swap these around as they have kids with a certain need, but we're really in pretty good shape there. If we kind of spend a little bit every year, we can make sure we stay up to top of shelf on all of these instruments. Another group that we look at is athletics. And again, I think our athletic department's in pretty good shape. This would not be equipment. This would be things like our turf fields, our tracks, those kinds of things that need to be looked at. And we're doing some work at Heritage on this bond program coming up, so we're going to be adding a turf field there that will help this. But we look at those turfs and they last 7, 8 years sometimes, depending. We do take good care of those as well. One of the things we're going to have to look at is some tennis courts resurfacing, because they do get slick and things over time. So we'll be looking at those over the next year, and we want to look at maybe adding some at Walnut Grove. Maintenance items, and you think of these as more repair items. When carpeting gets worn, or there might be some bathrooms that need to be refurbished, carpeting again, or maybe some tile work. You have some HVAC work, just as we finished up Batoski. Now we're going to have to start looking at some of the older buildings, which will be MHS and Baxter. And then the big thing here to me is the roofs. We've got to do something with some of our roofs. Baxter's really in poor condition, and we have plans to do that next summer. Of course, we're going to bring that all back to you as soon as we get your bid permission to go ahead and do the project, get the bid back to you. But that's one of our things, and you have to keep your roofs looking good. If you don't keep the roofs good, then you have interior damage that we just don't need to have. And then we have technology on here. It's not one-to-one. This would be more of our labs. We do still have some computer labs, mostly at MHS, and we'll be looking at refurbishing some of those as that equipment gets older. But again, this is just brought to you for information, to let you know that we do look forward. We don't try to react to everything when it happens. We try to plan for those things. And so we'll always bring these back to you later for a vote if we decide to do some of these projects. So thank you, board.